call this Brighton Area School Board of Education meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, sir.
Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Dr. Chesney.
Here.
Mr. Stahl.
Here.
Mrs. Minor. Here. Mr. Trombley.
Here.
Mr. Conley.
Here.
Mr. Birchfield.
Here. Thank you. The first item we have is approval of tonight's agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion about tonight's agenda? I see none. All in favor of accepting tonight's agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 7-0. At this point in the meeting, we have a section called Call to the Public. That's when you can address the Board of Education. We give you 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name and address. Dr. Chesney will give you a warning when you've used up all but 30 seconds of your time, and then a red card when your 3 minutes is up. And at that time, I'll use my judgment on asking you to stop based on where you are in your conversation. So, welcome.
Hi. My name is David Hollonen. I live in Green Oak Township. I have children in the Brighton School District. I wanted to take a minute to relate a story that was expressed to me by my brother-in-law. Several years ago, he lived in Heartland, and then his job took him out of state. And after a couple of years, he moved back into Michigan, and he's the president and CEO of a company in Lansing. So he had when he moved back here, he had a choice as to where he could live and where his children could go to school. He chose Brighton School District over his prior neighborhood and closer school districts. One of the driving factors was that he knows as an executive that the body that oversees the executives, Board of Trustees, the superintendent, makes a very big impact on the rest of the organization. The fact that the Brighton School District is run without a lot of drama, keeps out of the newspaper, was a very material aspect in his decision to move back to Brighton, or to move to Brighton, back to Michigan. And so he and his family, he has 8 children, 6 of which are new enrollees this year. Thank you. Dr. Gray, Board of Trustees, thank you very much. Oh, that's all.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing 6 kids to the district.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Bond, and I'm on Cobble Road in Brighton. And I just want to convey another positive. This year, it's so nice. I have 2 one at Horning, one at Maltby, and it's just such a positive start to the school year. You have great administrators at both of those schools, and it's been so nice to have those types of things as a parent. And I'm also a teacher, so the first week of school is always crazy. But I also really liked in your Friday newsletter that you talked about your opening day and that you did TED-style talks involving teachers from around the district. And I think that's a wonderful use of celebrating those positive things. And I think it would be, I know we've talked about like celebrating the things happening in Brighton schools, but maybe doing something like that where you're bringing the classroom teachers in and having maybe not the TED Talks as long, but maybe ignite 5-minute little things to celebrate. Because I think you can continue on the momentum, and now that they've seen teachers in the district do it for opening day, I think it would be an awesome thing for you to have at the board meeting. So have a great school year this year, and thank you again for all that you do for our schools.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kim Parker, and I'm the owner of Aquatic Adventures of Michigan. Aquatic Adventures of Michigan has been a customer of the Brighton High School Aquatic Center for the past 12 years. We have been recently told that we have 2 set time periods that we can utilize the pool, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. We based our business model off of using the pool time that we've always had for the past 12 years, 7 to 9 o'clock at night. I recently tried to utilize the pool from 5 to 7 and found that it was unacceptable. There was too many people swimming in the lanes, overlapping, and not enough room for my younger students to actually stand in the shallows. When I brought it to the attention of the athletic director, Anne Maria, she said that we had to use the pool at these time slots. There was going to be no change whatsoever. We have been a long-term customer with the Brighton schools. We are now forced to take our funds that we have been paying you to other school districts because of the lack of time that we were actually given to utilize the pool. We were never informed that the changes were going to be made. I've advertised in the community news. Had I known that we were going to be given 9 p.m. or 5 p.m. to 7, we would have never actually continued working with the pool because of this. We have been bringing about $9,000 with the head count that we have for students of ours. We pay $10 per person a head at the pool, and those funds will be going to another school district because of this. And I thank your board for the time.
Thank you.
My name is Bruce Heatley. I live at 4290 Chapel View Circle in Brighton Township, and I'm here to support Kim and Aquatic Adventures. Both of my kids graduated from Brighton schools, and I felt it was important that we have a pool that was there for the students and for the community. I think it was really wrong the way that this whole scheduling thing, where the people who were using the pool already weren't clearly notified. I voted for the millage, got my neighbors to vote for it. I can no longer use the pool because of the times that have been pushed aside. Just wanted to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Alder. I live over in Boulder Creek, and I guess I was a little concerned about what I heard here too. I run as a CEO for Brighton NC Machine. One of the advantages we had of the pool time that Aquatic Adventure had was it also accommodated the work schedule, and it was something that a number of the different employees got to use, along with even my own family. What makes this time kind of unfortunate for us is it makes it more difficult, even in family time, to get together and be able to enjoy a different sport. My son, who's off in the Marines now, certainly early in his high school career, in order to keep him active with things other than what could get kids in trouble, it was nice to have a program like this. And now being a dive master for Aquatic Adventure, it's a little bit disappointing that we can't continue to use the pool at a time that would be convenient for bringing families together and doing something like this. So I hope there's a chance to reconsider this. Thank you.
Hello to the board. My name is Ken LaForest. I'm a resident of the area. I live in Howell, but most of my life is here in Brighton. I've been working with Aquatic Adventures for well over 10 years and have come well accustomed to the time slot that we worked on. During my 10 years with Kim, we developed a program for the kids, specifically called Aqua Patrol. It's on the third Friday of every month. We're now excluded from that because of the times that we have. 5 o'clock is well too early. There's no way that I can make it to lead that program because I work in Farmington Hills. And the late program just isn't practical for the 8 to 14-year-olds. Now, what could be better than getting these kids interested in a sport like scuba diving, that they can establish a vacation setup for the rest of their life, an exploration setup. Some of them have said they want to be marine biologists. I'm just terribly upset that we're locked out of the time slot that has worked so well with these kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board this evening? All right, I see none. That closes our first call to the public. Next item on the agenda, Dr. Gray's superintendent report. You've got an introduction for us this evening.
Yeah, I'm going to do it at the end, so I'm going to run through mine and then I'll introduce Casey. So in front of you, you have our copy of the most up-to-date strategic plan. Please read through that. We'd love to present it for action at the next meeting. Don't look through it right now because I want you to listen to me, but after the meeting, take a look at it, please. It's not a whole lot different. There's a couple of confusing parts where we had a day and we're trying to get the information from Rod, so Star's going to look back at some of our notes in relation to that, but I think we've captured the majority of the essence of that, especially in the curricular area, other than a couple of suggestions I think Dr. Chesney had. So please make sure you look through that tonight because, again, I'd like to wrap that up and bring it for action at the next meeting so that we can vote on it and all agree to these particular terms and conditions. In terms of opening day, I'd echo what Jennifer said so far. I'm not going to say too many good things because it's only the second week, and we've had a good start, though. I think our transportation has done a nice job. The teachers were ready. We were fully staffed, which is always a challenge towards the end of the year. We hit our mark in terms of our FTEs. So those things are positive so far. We did an initial count of in-district, and I'll present that here in a couple of months, but it looks pretty good in terms of where our estimates were. Nothing crazy either direction, but looks like we guessed right, so that's positive. In terms of the presentation schedule, I sent you an email. I did get a couple of email feedbacks. At the next meeting, we'll have Dr. Turner here. He'll be presenting on technology. I did like the feedback that I received from Andy and Beth in terms of the presentation schedule, and we are starting to schedule those already. I'll be meeting with the directors before they come to give you a presentation. I'm looking at about a 10 to 15 minute presentation. And we're going to be very targeted, and it's going to primarily lock into our strategic plan and those things that we've agreed upon that we're going to do as a board and a district. So Dr. Turner will be here next time, and then obviously the schedule will flow as follows if you look back at Andy's email. As far as, I'm going to steal some thunder from Laura, but I received in the mail today an award from NCA, the district did, for 2014-15 systems accreditation, and we're invited if any of you would like to attend to celebrate the Advanced Systems Accreditation Award. That'll take place, and I'll ship you the dates, but November 6th, 8 to 9 at Crystal Onyx Ballroom, Suburban Showplace in Novi. So there are just a few districts that actually qualify because it's such an extensive process to work through, but Dr. Suri and her team in the district did a wonderful job, and they'll be recognized at that awards ceremony in November. So real positive with that. Also, in terms of Mr. Thompson, we're going through a similar type of accreditation process right now with our athletics. So in the next month or two, we're going to wrap up our visits with them and really take a look at what we're doing athletically. I think it ties in well with what Mr. Birchfield and I did at the last, I didn't present or anything, but when we went to the meeting with our fall coaches and had winter coaches come in and really kind of take a look at the future in terms of our athletic department and where we wanted to head. And I think, and I don't know, Mr. Birchfield, if you agree, it was a very productive meeting. A lot of good outcomes from that. But in terms of school of choice, I think we talked just a little bit about it earlier. Dr. Chesney was in my office the other day, and he was asking about trend data, and we kind of pointed him in the direction of a website that showed you a lot, but I thought it was interesting, so we just kind of started charting it. And if you look back to 08-09, we had 405 school of choice kids. 9-10, 458, 10-11, 504, 11-12, 549, 12-13, 608, 13-14, 694, last year 728, and this year we should be close to 800 when it's all said and done. We have 200 applications this year for school of choice, 76 at the kindergarten level, 63 in grades 1 through 8, and 60 in grades 9 through 12. So it points to the good stuff you're doing as a Board of Education and the direction you're giving the district. And I just thought that was a really kind of a neat chart to show in terms of our growth, even during times where we struggled a little bit financially. So other than that, I'm pretty much done, but it'd be great for me to introduce Casey Cobb. Casey's our student rep for the first semester of the year. I'm sure she'll introduce herself fully because we prepped on this, but I've known Casey and her family for a long time. She's a member of our leadership class. She's one of the second-year participants where she was in it as a junior last year, along with Jolyn Kramer, who you'll see second semester. And I know she has a great deal of stuff to share, but she's just a great kid, and she's doing a really good job for us in that class. So, Casey?
Thank you, Dr. Gray. As he said, I am a second-year leadership student, so this may be my first time on the board, but I have been doing a lot of public speaking and a lot of advocacy for different groups in our school. I also play soccer here, and I have been to board meetings before for different things with that, but this is a new experience for me, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity. With the bond this year, we have gotten new lockers and new bathrooms, and we got the new parking lots and the football field, and I know that every student in the high school is so thankful for it, and it's really improved just like our everyday lives at the high school. And we have had a great start. We had our freshman first day with a great assembly that our BCom program kicked off, and we haven't had any complaints so far. I mean, there have been a couple freshmen that look like they're in way too deep over their heads. But other than that, there's been a lot of excitement for the new school year, especially with the first 2 football games and stuff. Upcoming is Pink Week, and I did pass out to all of you the packet. I did get you one, but the first page is how you can get involved. So we have where it's going, and last year we donated around $10,000 to the St. Joseph Woodland Cancer Center in Brighton. And we pledged that much this year, and whatever over $10,000 we're giving to Susan G. Komen Foundation. We have different sponsorship levels that you can get involved with, and that includes different kinds of perks with it. So you can have your name on the board at the game, and t-shirts and posters in your windows, which here's our poster for this year. If you haven't seen it yet, on top of things. We're planning to hang one in the Beck building as well, and different businesses throughout the community. On Wednesday, we are actually going around to present and ask for different donations and whatnot, and we're going to paint windows. And the next page is raffle donations at the high school. We do a pick your prize raffle, so you can buy a length of raffle tickets, and then you can put it in whatever prize you would like, and we pull it on Friday. And that did get us around $2,500 last year, so it was a really big fundraiser for us, and we're looking forward to it being bigger and better this year. The next page is our outline of events for the week, and a lot of them do happen within the school. But on Friday, we do have our community-wide pink out, and we're really trying to get that bigger this year with getting downtown businesses involved, different elementary schools, middle schools. We want the whole community to feel united as we fight this fight. And then we have our football game, which is going to have a Dash for Cash fundraiser, which at halftime, we have a minute and we send out leadership students with buckets, and they just have to collect as much cash as they can in a minute. And last year, I think that got us around $2,000 as well. On Sunday, for the first time, we're partnering with Sky Zone, which is having its opening on Saturday, and they were generous enough to give us the Sunday, right after they open, for a Brighton jump night. So some of the proceeds go to Brighton's Pink Week if you pay for jumping and socks, and they're being really generous with us this year, and they're donating bandanas to the school for some of the middle school and intermediate school, and the high school. And then throughout the week, we have other small things going on within the school. And the last page that we have is the flyer from Sky Zone. And new this week, we did have the principal shopping district of downtown work with our principal, and he got a banner to hang over downtown like they have for the Jazz and Blues Festival. So new this year, we have our Pink Week banner, which I think is actually going up tomorrow morning. So we're really, really excited about that, and they were nice enough to donate it, and we're really excited for it to get bigger in the community. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity, and it's really an amazing thing for me to do as a senior. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Really appreciate it and hope you enjoy this semester.
Hey, one last thing I forgot. I got a text earlier. Katie Bishop and Avery Hay, 2 other leadership kids, are putting together an event for Pink Week as well. It's at their soccer game on the 24th. A business, if they would like to donate a certain sum of money, kids will put in raffle tickets. They draw the raffle. They get to kick against Mr. Thompson as goalie, so it's a sure thing you're going to get a bye. and probably not, he's pretty competitive. And that will, if it gets by him, it's a certain amount of money you promise to donate. If it doesn't get by him, then it's a different amount of money that you promise to donate. So if you or a business that you know of are interested in that, let me know and I'll get those girls that information. We can run that as well at the soccer game. That's all we have.
Thank you, Casey. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, now into the meat of the agenda for action items. First item is the minutes of August 24th are at your place. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion on the minutes? Mr. Conley?
Yeah, I guess it would be police liaison officer regarding police dog, the E on page 4. I would like to put in there that the dog will be present on all school days that the officer's present. I think we discussed that. Go ahead.
We discussed it, but if we have a substitute officer, then the dog wouldn't be there.
Right. Well, then maybe we'll put on that the dog is planned on being there on all school days or something. The dog is present in the school if Milgram's there. Officer Milgram is there.
Okay, so what I'm hearing then is you want us to put that the police dog will be present anytime Officer Meldrum is present.
I go with that.
But I think that's what we discussed
Right.
doing this and actually made sure the contract said, because I know that, I believe you brought that up just.
It's important for the...
Because it said there the dog would be there every day, and I think Mr. Trump
Right.
said, well, what if you substitute? So the assumption is if.
Yeah, it was
But I think
captured in the minutes.
what Mr. Connolly's saying though is that in the minutes,
Correct.
not in the contract, in the
I don't want to
minutes.
change the contract at all. Leave the
Okay.
contract, just that
We,
had
we
a
can
discussion
do that. Yeah.
that officer, that the dog's
You just have to amend them then.
So
John,
just
you'd have to
amend it
recommend it.
say-
Amend it to say that the police dog, Danko, if you want to be very specific, will only be on site the days that Officer Meldrum is on site.
So if you could amend the minutes, okay, so,
One other item on the police dog is we discussed, it wasn't a pause dog. This is an official police dog. Right. Okay.
Yes.
I think he has a badge. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the amended minutes from?
So moved.
August 24th? So we have a motion, we have support. Any more discussion on that? All in favor of accepting the amended minutes from August 24th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passes 7-0. Next item up, Dr. Gray, resignations.
We recommend you accept the resignation of Sarah Haggerty, teacher of 13 years with appreciation, and her letter of resignation is attached for your convenience.
Right, do we have a motion to accept the resignation as presented?
So moved.
A motion? Second. We have support, any discussion? I would just like to personally thank Ms. Haggerty for her time in the district.
We hope she comes back someday. We really do. She's a great teacher. We've gone with the standard of 2-year leaves. That's what she's run up against. But I'd hire her back in a heartbeat.
Well, we appreciate everything she's done for the district. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 7-0. New hires. Dr. Gill.
We recommend you approve the hires of Tracy Richards, Kimberly Morrow, Ashley Schober, Emily Cower, Meredith Wolf, and Ashley Floto. You see their credentials that follow and the step that we are hiring them on. These are based on either enrollment numbers or replacements of positions that we had previously.
All right, do I have a motion to accept or approve the new hires?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have support?
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion on the new hires? Mr. Conley?
Yes, Dr. Gray, on the retirements versus new staff, where are we at percent? How many of these are replacing retired teachers and how many are new due to enrollment increases?
We only have a couple to enrollment increases. Most of them are just retirements. The large majority.
Okay, and which area are we increasing staff due to enrollment?
4th grade at Horning, and we have a kindergarten at Grew.
Thank you.
So one thing I want to point out, and Dr. Gray and I had this conversation, I think several other folks were in, actually, I think Beth, you were there, and Bill, with part of the hiring process discussion, that we've spent a lot of time in this room talking about process and the fact that we want this on for future action and then move it to for action. The reason we're breaking a bit of process here tonight is based on the need to get these staff in front of the board and not further delay. So as part of the longer term work
that the committee is going to be doing, this is part of that conversation. So I just wanted to make it clear to the rest of the board that this was, we recognize that we're not following our own process, but came up against a situation that forced our hand a bit, and we need to.
And it will every year.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Because we wait till the bitter end to see where we think our numbers are going to be.
So I would say we're actually following the process, but the new process that we desire isn't being followed.
But
We're on track.
again, if the situation dictates for any issue, that we probably.
Yeah, if we were to hire somebody in July or June, we typically do for future and for action. We don't in August or September.
Okay. So, any other discussion on this one? All right, so we have a motion and support. All in favor of accepting the new hires, certified staff as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. Item D, the bond project bid package 6 summary.
This was the one that we delayed last time by tabling. We've had a couple of bond committee meetings in the meantime. We have talked about these particular items, felt comfortable enough to bring them back for action, but we do have Mr. Twigg and Mr. Jesse here tonight from Barton Mallow who have put together this in case you have any questions.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the 2012 bond project bid package 6 bid summary?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have support. All right, any discussion on this bid package? Mr. Tremblay?
Andy, have you gone back and reviewed this?
I have. I haven't specifically seen the exact locations. However, I did have a fairly lengthy conversation with Mr. Marino and Brian. I believe it's Brian, is that correct? Okay. Last week in regards to this topic. A couple of things that I want to highlight that I think are important for the board to be aware of and something that we have to take into consideration moving forward when it comes to this type of stuff. And security cameras are a bit of a slippery slope because once we get into that business, we're in that business. And there is a significant cost factor in any time you add cameras because of the maintenance aspect. So we can't put a camera in and then not have that camera work. Or we're setting ourselves up for some significant problems down the line. So I think that, moving forward, we need to develop a better approach to how we're implementing this. A couple of things that came to as part of the discussion, we at present don't have a policy with security cameras, which I believe needs to be developed very soon, on their use, who has access, how are they utilized, just the details behind the system as a whole. We don't have a preventative maintenance program in place for them, which I believe needs to be developed and something that we've got to have in place in short order. And then lastly, I think that we need to be able to identify with metrics where we're placing cameras and why. The decisions that were utilized, or the points, the criteria that were used to identify where these cameras were going, were based on memory and historical perspective, and not on physical data and metrics, which I think you've heard me say many times up here thus far. We've got to be able to make our decisions off of what the data is telling us. So as we move forward, these are things that we need to be looking at. Obviously, the policy and the preventative maintenance program, that needs to come into place very quickly. But then in addition, we need to be able to start making our decisions more off of data versus off of, well, somebody said we've had a number of issues in this particular area, so let's throw up a camera. What is it? Exactly. And it goes back to that overall approach with security cameras. Once we're making the investment, we've got a significant investment to maintain. And the more cameras we add, the more investment we're going to make down the line. And so I'm not sitting here by any stretch and advocating don't do it. What I'm saying is that we as a board have to be prepared, and our district has to be prepared to have a program behind this that's going to support the maintenance, the upkeep, the replacement, and everything else that goes with operating a robust security system.
But I would assume this is probably the last of a purchase like this. Wouldn't
I would
it be?
think so.
I mean, I don't, unless there's some hidden area somewhere that.
Right, the metrics that the metrics that you need to cover.
Exactly, I would think that we're probably to the end of this.
I would say it depends, in Mr. Birchfield's point, it depends on who you'd ask. Because kids are smart. So if you put cameras up in one area, they find a different area. Or put them up in another area, they find another area. But I think we have pretty good coverage in terms of the district. I do agree with you, Mr. Trumba, that I think we're probably nearing the end, and now it's the maintenance portion of it that's costing us. And if I remember correctly, with all the companies that we brought in, one of the things we asked for at the end of the bond was a preventative maintenance schedule in terms of the products that we were putting in place. So I'm assuming as we wrap up this next year, and probably sooner, I would agree with Mr. Birchfield that we will press those people for those particular items.
I agree too. I think the point of policy, how it's handled, I'm
Yeah.
sure you're talking about how long you're storing things, what's admissible, how you go through the legal aspects of it. There's probably a Neola policy that addresses.
I'm sure, yeah. We do have camera policy in the
So we
district, but
probably
it's
wanna
not
get something-
as robust, I think, as Mr. Birchfield would be
Try
talking
something
about.
that's a little bit more legal.
It's pretty general, I would say, as is most our board policy.
Is there any U of M perspective? I mean, U of M policy that we could use as a boilerplate somewhere between Neola and U of M, or is that not something that?
Yeah, I mean, no, there's absolutely. I mean, there's a variety of organizations that have done things very well. There's been a number of organizations who have done things that they're regretful of at this point.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, certainly the more we can pull from other organizations as a best practice and use that as a template or a model, by all means, let's do that. It's not a matter of recreating the wheel, but it's protecting ourselves and our interests so that we're not exposing. And most importantly, if we're gonna, I keep going back to it, but if we're gonna put a camera up, then that camera better be operational, because that's where it just opens.
The one time it isn't, that's when something always happens.
Absolutely.
Is camera location for these final cameras already predetermined? I mean, is that
Yes.
defined where those are going?
Yes.
So there's no mystery, there's no modification?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, thank you. We have a motion, we have support. All in favor of accepting the 2012 bond project bid package 6-bid summary, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 7-0. Next item up is for future action. Item A, none. We'll move on to for curriculum and instruction. Dr. Zert.
Thank you. Apologize for having to interrupt the last segment. Sometimes this takes a long time to set up, and I didn't want to sit here waiting for it. Of course, tonight it just automatically came on, so I didn't have to do that.
Because our
I-
technology guys are here.
Well, it could be because I was here till 6:30 getting it set up, so but did this myself. Okay, so I wanted to share with you this evening a couple things, just updates. As you all may be well aware of, and we had in the Friday newsletter, this Thursday is Constitution Day. And throughout this week, our social studies lessons across the district are focusing on the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Founding Fathers, the rights and responsibilities that come with citizenship in our nation. The high school in particular is doing some special planning, I believe, and Henry, you can tell me, you can say nix it if that didn't work out, but I believe that we have a special guest coming next week. Yes, for all of our juniors, and it's Judge Hattie, am I correct about that? Correct. All right, so we're very excited about that, and we'll make sure you guys have the time as well if you would like to come visit. I know I'll be there that afternoon. And many thanks to Mrs. Hollowick at the high school and our administrative team for setting that up. And if there's anybody else I'm missing, maybe Bill Murray was helping with that as well, probably. So that's a great thing happening this week. And throughout the year, I know Mrs. Hollowick plans things that correspond to the national holidays, such as Martin Luther King Day, President's Day. Throughout the year, there's events that are planned. Let's see. Also, just as a really side note, today I had 2.5-hour conversation with our new director of accounting. We were going over the consolidated application and payroll for all the grant-funded folks, and I will just say I'm very impressed with this young man. He asked a lot of good questions. We spent a lot of time just trying to figure out what each other were saying, and I thought that was a good sign. I mean, he wants to be clear so that there are no major mistakes, and I kind of like that thinking. So, all right, so the only other thing this evening I wanted to share, and hopefully it pops up here for you. As you know, the board has asked me on a number of occasions to assist in gathering information on a couple of different initiatives, and I've been trying to think of ways that I could support you in our collective learning here as we think about a curriculum subcommittee, initiatives, that direction that the board would offer to the district. And one of the things, just kind of going back into my own learning, I like to read things. I can have somebody come and do a presentation for me for 5 to 10 minutes, and I get a little bit out of it. But if I can just kind of sit down with text and websites and data, I can learn a lot of things. So what I put together, and I shared it with you guys around 5:30 this evening, is this Google Doc folder, and I will assist anyone who has issues in opening it, but it's been shared with all of you. I think I made this one too big. Yeah. So what I did here is I tried to put all the initiatives or all the requests that you guys have been sharing with me since summertime, maybe even last year. Some of these are well on their way, very developed. They have like Science Olympiad, First Robotics. They're just places, and it's just a place for any of us to share, like I say, articles, newspaper articles, data, photos, anything, websites, with the intention, my thought is that if we could designate this fall, whether it's the first quarter or the whole semester, to learning about some of these initiatives together, and then we could spend this next part of the year with that board subcommittee for curriculum, kind of digging into some of these, and some of these will be taken off the list before we even get there, or some of these other things will be added to the list. Because as I go through this, I don't see anything that Mrs. Miner's asked me to investigate or put on, but if I really asked her, like in this moment, she'd probably say, yeah, please put something up there about early childhood or initiative that she's very passionate about. So you're all welcome to, we can add more folders to this. And at this point, I've only shared it with the central office, I've shared it with you guys and the principals, but eventually this is something that anyone will have access to view. As you saw in your email tonight, if you want to contribute to this, email it to me as an attachment, because otherwise it's Google Drive is kind of maddening at times. I will format it and put it in here for you. But just to give you a sense of, Dr. Chesney has asked me to look into Project Lead the Way. So these are things I just pulled together, documents. Oh, that first one is International Baccalaureate, doesn't belong there, but I won't take the time to move it right now. But everything else is Project Lead the Way. Well, it works. And as you can see, there's lots in here. I won't take the time again to open these things up, but you guys have those. There's also some achievement data things, and tonight, like 14, 15 ACT results, I've got a PowerPoint in there. I'd invite you to take a look at it, and maybe the next board meeting, then we could present that here and have a discussion about it. Okay, I'll try to remind you somehow to do that. This is a PowerPoint that we did a couple months ago, a couple meetings ago. And I think there's ROTC down here, but, the Science and Math Center. Lots and lots of things here that all of this I pulled together. And in a matter of, 4, 5, 7 hours. It does take time, but once it's built, then I think it's useful. So, I don't know, what do you guys think? Work for you?
Thank you very much.
I'm not complaining. I would never complain to this board, but I have to find a way to manage a lot of different competing requests, and I really feel strongly that my most important thing is to, support the staff and the initiatives that we have built, but I don't want to ignore the ideas, the good ideas. I think some of these things are very, very exciting. So I'm trying to find ways to manage that and still have the focus that I need to have at the district current initiatives. All right, and I don't think I had anything else here tonight. Do you have any questions?
Anybody?
Yeah, I do.
Dr. Chesney?
One is, are we forming a curriculum supplement? We've talked about that, but I don't know whether that request has ever been formalized. Is that?
So I think when we left the last meeting, we talked about finance, which we've already set up, human resources, which we've already set up.
Yep.
I think we talked curriculum, which Dr. Suri needs to ship out an email, or through Mr. Kraus, so if we determine who wants to be on it. And I think the other one that we haven't tackled is facilities. I think facilities, we have the bond subcommittee right now, and I think the debate was, is the bond subcommittee the facilities subcommittee, or is there a different subcommittee that looks more than just the bond, looks into, like Mr. Birchfield was talking about, preventative maintenance, or staffing levels, or specificity in terms of HVAC versus plumber versus electrician. So I guess if I had my way, I would say create a subcommittee outside of the bond committee that can report back. The bond committee is pretty targeted. I mean, we have this much money, we have this edict from the public, and this is what we accomplish. I think we could have a subcommittee meet again quarterly, like I think we're primarily doing with all the subcommittees, and get some good work done outside of the bond. But again, give me direction and we'll make it happen.
We'll work on that one next. Let's take the next week or so. If you're interested in a curriculum committee, please contact myself and I copy Dr. Suri, and we'll put together a 3-person group.
Can we do facilities too?
Sure.
Because I'd like to start scheduling these quarterly meetings, because a lot of these have come with some work. I've shipped you some of that today from the meeting we already had from HR. It would help us get a little bit ahead of the game on that.
Okay, so our 2 tasks, facilities and curriculum.
Remember, only 3 of you can be on them, so
So send me some names.
if you're on 2 already, we'd love to see a variation. That'd be great.
Who was on the finance committee?
I was looking that up. Under
Okay,
finance.
okay.
Excuse me, one other
This is
thing.
curriculum.
Oh, Dr. Gray, could you shut the power off so we don't have this distraction? I'm sorry, thank you. Sorry, Dr.
The movie will start playing or something.
Okay, so again, those 2 tasks out for the next subcommittees. And again, we'll talk about the finance one in a minute, and we can figure out where we're going to go from there, okay? Thank you, Dr. Suri, as always. The next question.
Yeah, okay. Question about curriculum. And this is just related to some issues that I brought up at the past meetings. And first of all, thank you for gathering all of the written information together. As you know, I'm particularly interested in the Math and Science Center, the International Baccalaureate, and Project Legal. And I brought up at the last meeting the possibility of just for information only.
Right.
Just for information only, to have us consider these 3 options between now and the end of the year. And I just wanted to, with the board's approval, to again ask for at the 28th of September, so our next meeting, to bring in some outside expertise to present on a Math and Science Center for no more than 15 minutes, information only, and so that we can all see what that looks like, kind of the good, the bad, the ugly, the costs associated with that, just to give us an idea. And then ask that board members who are interested to read some of the wonderful information that Dr. Suri has put together.
Is that expert available or the outside?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have, okay.
Have you made that contact?
I have made that
Okay.
contact.
We also talked about recently about the IB of some kind of a presentation the next month, and I offered to Dr. Chesney that maybe we could begin with me just sharing the PowerPoint that we made in 2011 when we spent a year as a district exploring PYP. And then Dr. Gray has experience with that. Instead of inviting someone else in, I think we can have a for information that night.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's, actually, I'd like to suggest 3 additional, and I know this is getting bigger and bigger, but at least for consideration, one already exists, and that's the health, wellness, safety, and security.
That's kind of the safety committee that
Yeah,
you've been a part of?
But I
Okay.
think making it a little bit broader with
Yep.
health and wellness, so you're dealing with mental health, substance abuse, sexual
You have the new
assault,
nurse as well, maybe
all
she
that.
could help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Community engagement and partnerships, And then the other one would be extracurricular. So that would be not only athletics, but that would also be
Fine arts.
fine arts.
Clubs.
Exactly.
Okay.
And my thought with this is that it would be it's not so much driven by board members, but how do we get more parent involvement, community member involvement? We've got a significant interest from, I think, several city council members. I mean, there's a number of people that I think have legitimate interest in engaging more with the activities of Brighton area schools. And so I think the more we can leverage that and bring that into some of these committees, the better it's going to be for all of us.
We have those down, so.
Okay.
We can,
I would say let's look at those other two first, and then we'll move from there.
Cool.
The one's just a name change, so, and a philosophy change, so.
Yep.
Any other comments? Curriculum? Nope. Okay. Next item up is bills of August 20th.
Yep, Dr. Gistinger's out this week, so the bills are attached.
Okay. Second item up is financial strategy. I guess I'll take that bullet to talk about the finance committee. I did get some names. So the finance committee will be Dr. Chesney, Mr. Trombley, and myself will make up the committee. I'd like to get maybe some of your time and Dr. Gistinger to figure out, the width of the other people we need to bring in from an engagement perspective and talk about, whether it's a quarterly, a monthly, how we're going to go through the mechanics of it. I don't want to tie us down right now to any specific things, but I think we need to have the conversation to set that up, and I guess we would do the same for the other committees and pull them together.
I've done subcommittee structure in other districts. There's even a way to stagger the quarterly meetings, because I'll be at all of them, so will Dr. Gistinger probably. So even if you stagger them like we did with the calendar, I appreciated Mr. Birchfield's input. You can almost align with the busy seasons and when they complete certain tasks. Like there's a reason we want finance to meet in January, because we have our First Amendment. Or prior to that, as we're leading up to our First Amendment. There's a reason we like to meet for facilities and technology closer to the beginning and start of school year, because the summer months are where we do the majority of the work, and so on and so on and so on. I think the curriculum portion in the spring is a really good idea, because that's when new curriculum adoption proposals are coming in front of Dr. Suri, and you can have a more informed decision-making process. So once we figure out how many subcommittees you want, that would be an ideal time to put together the schedule in terms of how we're going to manage it.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Anything else? That's just a quick touch on that. Dr. Brady, resources.
I kind of touched on it already. Very proud of that department. We had a very good meeting with the subcommittee in terms of HR, I thought. I sent you a measurable today. I have another one. I'm going to try to get it done tomorrow. I don't know if I'll get it completely done, but it's part of that checkout list that we talked about at the subcommittee. What I'm proud of, though, is we worked very hard this summer, just like the past summers, on making our classrooms as tight as possible. There's a big dollar figure attached to all those decisions. We get screamed at a lot in August, but we do what's right for kids. We put them first. We make decisions based on that. Start taking a bunch of abuse, as is Henry and other people. So, but in the end, we had a great start. We were fully staffed. We're highly qualified in every single position. And I think it sets itself up for a pretty good year. So I've been really pleased with the new crop of teachers, parapros, EAs, and it's a big district. We have 850 employees, and we're getting closer to the point where all of them are heading in the right direction. So we're pretty happy about that.
I have a human resource question that possibly we could get the information. I know there was a new hire in community ed for the director of the Senior Citizen Center.
Yep.
Could we have the information on that?
Yeah, we'll have Dr. Gistinger email it to you when
And
she
a
gets back.
resume?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
It's his name's actual Justin. He was a accounting intern for us at one point. Our hope long term is to, when we know a person's about to leave that particular accounts payable position, to move him over into there to strengthen our business office. But it doesn't mean that we don't think he's going to do a great job at the senior center as well. He's already started in that position, and my understanding is doing a very nice job with it. It will allow for another transition in there, but he's a very, very talented person, and we know a person in our business office who's probably going to go in a year or so. So we wanted to lock down that talent.
Okay, senior center is more than an accountant.
Oh, sure. And he is more than an accountant.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I'd like to see him.
yeah, we can send it along to you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on human resources? We kind of covered committees and whatnot. Next item up is board reports. Do we have any board reports for this evening? Two, Mr. Stein.
Just a quick one. I do have a first grader, and one in college too. And so I'm kind of in the bustle of what happens at that point in life right now again. And one thing that happened was the last minute teacher class assignments caused some grief. People calling me because I'm intertwined in that group now. The only thing I would like to mention to the board and the community is maybe we need more communication, maybe in the multimedia field of Facebook. And I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Wilson at Scranton, who uses Facebook and responds to these types of things as they happen. Just calms people down, let them know that people are working on it and that they care and they're paying attention. And I'd just like to share that with everyone. I think he does a great job, and it's something we could use more often because it is where everyone is talking all the time. The other one I had for you was Selcra. Approximately 2-3 months ago, I was at a meeting with Selcra. The discussion of, at the end of that meeting, there was a lengthy discussion with me and the members as to whether or not it would be viable to have Selcra absorbed by the school again. I'm speaking freely about this because they have made it public now. Dr. Gray, at my request, went to a meeting with our community members, the managers of the municipalities that are part of Selcra. It was a good discussion, I think. Dr. Gray, if you would agree. At their meeting last Wednesday, the discussion was some concerns as to what they would do for community members who are outside of the school district and that. That's the type of thing they'll have to do in-house and come up with a plan for that. However, the motion was made that they would like to see what the plan looks like and what the process will be. So they are pursuing that. It could not happen until next July because of their business calendar. They've already started it, but it looks promising, and we will keep the community and the members informed as things progress. That's all.
Anybody else? Bond reports. Dr. Chesney.
Some comments. On the Technology Innovation Grant, I wanted to say thank you to Ms. Bond for volunteering to be on the committee. Ms. Kara Fribley has also volunteered to be on the committee, and Dr. Turner and myself are going to be on the committee for this. Dr. Turner generously built a Google form that will be used for submissions of the grant proposals, and I took it for a test drive last night. I'm sure we're going to be go live before the next meeting and have that go on. We would like one more person on that committee for that Technology Innovation Grant, and that would be a student. And Dr. Gray, Dr. Surrey, Ms. Park, if you could help us put that together, decide who that would be nice to round out the committee. So that's a Technology Innovation Grant. Another thing, and this is an interesting thing, is that the community a couple of years ago decided to crowdsource and start funding recording of these meetings. And Mr. Fox has been crowdsourced and he's done a wonderful job filming these meetings to be posted they're posted on YouTube, they're not posted on a VAS site, correct?
YouTube, right.
Okay, so they're posted via YouTube. And the question that I had is do we find great value in having the meetings recorded? And I think we know the answer to that. And then the question is shall we continue? And if we do continue, should we move that from something being crowdsourced to something being funded by Brighton area schools as an alternative, with Mr. Fox continuing on to fund it internal rather than crowdsourcing? Or also have it be continued on, but have it be possibly a service from a student on the National Honor Society. And so that the cost would be towards equipment unless we happen to have some equipment for filming.
We do.
Okay. So I just wanted to bring that up for discussion. The first question is, do we keep filming it? And then if we keep filming it, how?
I'd like to see it streamed, personally. If you
That's what I was going to say.
you stream it and then capture the stream as an archive. I mean, that would be the...
Well, remember, if people want to film it, we don't have a choice. They can film it. It's a public meeting. But if we take it over, we can do that as well. So this originally, they just have to come and let me know they're going to film. That's our board policy on that. That's why we had 2 filmers for a while. And people film other events too. Live stream, let me check. In terms of that, I know we have cameras that can download onto the YouTube site, which I think is how he does it presently. I've never went to it, but in the future, I think the live streaming is a good way to go because people could sit down at the time and watch, and then maybe we could loop it afterwards on YouTube as well for people that could not.
I'd like to see the impact of that wedge. Yes, because I'm sure there's a cost involved with it.
What would be the cost, Mr. Fox?
What's my cost?
Yes,
$2,500 for next year,
$2,500.
for the 22 meetings.
Okay.
But that's just posted on YouTube, correct? Not live.
Correct.
Right.
There'd be a small increase to stream it.
But
I'm
if
not
we
sure
have,
what that is at the
probably
moment.
Mr. Turner, we probably have capabilities.
Let us check. I wouldn't even want to venture a guess because I'm not an expert in that, but let me check.
Yeah, I'm sure we have capacity.
I mean, what about posting it on our website? Is it something that?
Well, that's, I mean, I think if we streamed it, it would probably be somehow linked to our website, maybe. I mean, maybe. Mr.
Under
Turner-
Board of Education, the tab, you could have the videos. I don't know how that stuff works, so I'm not on
Dr.
base.
Turner giving us an answer on.
We
what
look
the
into it.
alternatives are, my ideas.
So James, so the difference, what's the, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, we tried, or I asked about it. So now what's different today? We said it wasn't.
Probably some is technology.
It wasn't cost effective at the time.
Yeah, some is technology. Easier to stream, easier to drop it on YouTube.
But we need to discuss all the.
Yeah.
Paths where we just jumped into it. I think what's going on is great.
Why don't I ask Dr. Turner to make it a part of his report?
And just give us a proposal.
Yeah, because then he could do it right while he's presenting.
That'd be great, thank you.
And it's part of that too, we should make sure. Security cameras in here. We should make sure about.
You're getting filmed. You're getting filmed now. No audio, but you're getting filmed.
As part of that, we should make sure too, on Mr. Fox's interest level and staying involved too.
Yeah, I'm here to help.
Okay.
It's been fun.
I've been at all the
I'm
meetings
sure it
too.
has, yeah. Dr. Gray reminded me on something. So when the reports or the presentations are done by directors, assistant superintendents, et cetera, can we make sure that there's time built in for Q&A from the board? So I'm anticipating that they'll be presenting, they'll go through their presentation, and then I just want to make sure that there's time accounted for the ability of the board to ask questions.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to meet with each director before they come.
Prep them.
Well, just to make sure it's not an hour-long presentation, you know, so.
Okay, anybody else on board reports?
I have one more item, and this is something that I've been, I'm the liaison to LESA and the liaison to Brighton High School. And I'm trying to continually try to find the right level of involvement in the schools, where I want to make sure that, every second that I spend in the schools is seen as something that I'm contributing to the schools, that the administrators and teachers, it's something that I'm actively doing for the good of the school, and that I'm involved at the governance, the strategy, and the policy level, and I want to make sure that I'm not involved at the administration or the operations level, when I'm involved in the schools for my liaison position. I think that's really important, particularly as we start a new school year.
Right.
What did you say you wanted to be involved in again?
That-
You said 3 things.
Being involved in governance and strategy and policy. That's the school board's level of involvement. That's where we get involved on the school level. And that we do not get involved in administration and operations of the individual schools, for which we are the liaison.
The liaison position, somewhat of a bring issues back to the board from the school you liaise to, and then take them up and determine whether we need policy or we'd have to have a discussion on it. So.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, I just wondered when you said governance, what you were you trying to get your fingers right in that school? Or what?
No, governance from the board level, just in terms, and by governance, I mean by coming out, what our strategy is. Not governance of the individual school.
Okay.
Absolutely
Okay.
not. Governance from the board level as appropriate from the board level, not getting involved too deeply in the
Okay, okay.
at all. Sorry if that wasn't clear.
Anybody else? While we're wrapping, no? Bond committee. Next, last item up on for information, Mr. Stahl, little update on the bond committee for us, please?
Well, just the week before school opened, Mr. Trombley and I walked the property, pointed out his issues for me, and we worked together finding more. Just go through the list on it. First, Miller is done. This is a report from our meeting. They're working on a punch list right now. We'll be looking at that. I'm supposed to be getting a copy of that. The pool was certified. It was the tightest tolerances they had seen, according to the people that did that report for us. They'll be getting a health inspection on the 25th and a fire on the 28th. Also, the stadium, some of the board members are probably aware, maybe some of the committee, the lights haven't been working all that great in our orange glass that we talked about a lot about the stadium. They are going to be replaced by the manufacturers. They have an approved model that will be going in there, so hopefully we won't have a problem with those anymore. Fitness center is scheduled to start as soon as the pool is open. You all know that date, I'm not going to say it. The high school, I was presented with a list of concrete where we had seen cracks. Actually, I added a couple to it, Bill. It looked like exactly what we saw. Also, we discussed the trims on the doors that have to be done, Z-strips, L-strips, etc. They're all being addressed. Also, the curbs in the front. Something Bill pointed out that is a problem. We have some curbs that lean. They did look at those today. It is an issue. They're going to have a concrete company come in and take a look at that. And other than that, things look great around our school district, and people are talking about it everywhere.
So, I agree with what Ken said, but I guess what the point I want to make tonight is that, there's discussion prior that I didn't think AUK would make their dates for moving in and getting the things completed this summer that they said they would complete. And you can see that that's the case. They did not complete what they said they were going to complete. And just for your own example, drive through the parking lot at the high school, you'll see lights missing off light posts. You'll see the canopy that you walk in isn't finished underneath and trimmed. You will see that the sills aren't in there where the students to sit. There's nails there now for them to sit on. You'll see there's a railing left off the loading dock area that should have been addressed. As Ken said, numerous amounts of caulking around trims, these kinds of things. AUK Construction is fleecing the taxpayers of BAS right now. They are not living up to their contract. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We hired them as an owner's representative. They are not representing BAS in quality or schedule in the way they're supposed to be representing us. It bothers me to have them back again, coming back to redo the pool, the old pool, and then again for another phase the following year. In May, I brought up some warranty items from Maltby that weren't supposed to be addressed. And I thought they were going to address them before they started work this year. Guess what? Those same items still are not fixed. Now it's coming into September, October. How late are the asphalt plants going to be open to fix the asphalt? How late are they going to pour concrete? Okay? We as a board up here need to do something. Okay? We still have a building that sits below the grade at the football field that still leaks after 2 years. Okay? I would like to suggest tonight to let Dr. Gray go out to a third party, a consulting firm, to look at this, to bring them in, let them look at this building, and tell us what the next steps should be, okay, from their professional aspect, okay? I would also like to recommend that we look for an alternative company, maybe a local company here, or contracting resources, or somebody like that, that could step in and take the place of AUK Construction. We are not getting any benefit right now out of AUK Construction. It's costing the taxpayers money. And I'm becoming very concerned, like I have over the past. Again, this stuff is not being completed, and they're not being held to their schedules or the quality that's supposed to be expected. Thank you.
I'm going to take a little exception here, Bill. I don't believe AUK is a bad company. I think that this is commonplace with most construction. Dates are set and things happen. We went ahead with the canopy ahead of schedule, so those things aren't, you can't expect all that stuff to be buttoned up on the same schedule when it's brought forward a year. And you know, I haven't seen anything that they haven't addressed or aren't willing to address. Simply can't do it at the spur of the moment. There's too much going on right now. We've got a lot going on. I believe that we can hold them accountable and get a great quality here. I think they're a great company, and they'll provide it to us.
Again, I brought this up in May. We're still waiting. We're waiting for 2 years for the warranty items to be fixed at the football field. It's finally getting fixed. How much longer are we going to continue to wait? Ock's going to take their money and go back to Pontiac. We're not going to see them again. Okay? That's the only thing I'm worried about. We still have to pay for this bond for another 18 years. Stuff needs to be fixed now, so we're not paying for it later down the road.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Well, just to address this, I'd like to see if we could get, I know we have punch lists, we have warranty things. I mean, every meeting or two, we have a little laundry list of horrible things that are not getting done in the district. Is there any way to get all of that into one place and then get Ock in here for a committee meeting and then go item by item with them, if that's what it takes, to say, you know, these things, you said that, or you said this, or here's a schedule, or just ask him, what is your timing to get these things done? Because if we don't put it in front of them, you know, at least as a group, we need to know that that's being accumulated.
So you've seen the emails I sent back in May.
No, but I think we just need to accumulate one distinct package of information that we can.
I agree. We're working on that right now. We took a ton of pictures in our walk, and we've got many on file from all the previous items. They are working on doing that with me, and we are going to sit down and do it. It's an awful lot to cover, and we plan to do it.
Could you supply to us then a schedule as to when
Absolutely.
that stuff's going to be
That's
done?
the intention.
I
Put
mean,
it
I'd like
together
to
and
see
get
him
it out
come
to
here and
everybody.
talk to us about it. I mean, it's one thing to commit outside of this conference room, here to the boardroom, but I'd like to see, you know, Jeff and his team in here saying, here's what they're going to do on each one of these items. And if it goes to 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, that's the way it goes.
So, but going back to my previous statement, could we, or would you allow Dr. Gray, or as a resolution of the board here, to go and look for a third party to come out, look at the football building, to give us an opinion as to what their idea of why it is?
I would if I thought Ock would pay for it. And I think that's the way that I think we should do it, because they either need to come up with a solution with Stan Tech.
I think though, Jay, we have to find the findings of the third party and let them tell us what the reason is, and then let us take those findings and say whether Ock's liable or not.
They have talked about a solution for that. I don't know if it's been addressed yet, but it was an overhang over that door that would funnel the water.
That's not going to do it. An overhang over the door isn't going to stop the water from being trapped between the track and the building going in underneath the building.
How about if we get a quote for this third-party assessment and bring it to the board?
Fine, yeah. I'm just saying, let's move somewhere in a direction to try to solve
You
it.
look into those solutions?
Yep.
And then bring it back at your convenience?
I'll have it by next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stahl.
On that note, Mr. Trombley's brought up numerous meetings and numerous different times some of the shortcomings and also some of the good things. So I would say he's always had shortcomings. But I've also been involved and we've done some walking around, and I mean, let's face it, we're so far ahead of where we were, sometimes we might leave off that we're not where we totally want to be when it comes to what we paid for. So I got that. But Mr. Trombley, I believe, is 100% correct in the tidy-up work that needs to be done when it comes to at the end of the project. Now, if there's any issue with that, some of this should have been fixed a year and a half ago if it could have been. You know, the things went in, the posts cracked, the walls cracked, this happened, whatever. It wasn't intentional. That's the first thing. I don't think anything here is necessarily intentional. There are things that maybe didn't work out, but that happens in any project. But the level of the commitment we had to the companies that we've worked with, I believe, represent what he's asking for 100%, that it would be fixed and taken care of. This is, you know, near $100 million project technically. So if they ever want us to call them again, I suppose they'll take care of Mr. Trombley's desires through Ken and the bond committee and take care of it. I would just say that I would support Mr. Trombley and what he's saying on all of this. And if we find something, I think Jay you actually said all the things that I was thinking. Well, it's important that we bring it forward, though, in a compiled fashion and say, what is the first list? What is the things that we're going to do and what aren't we going to do? We have asked some things, though, and they said they would do it in some form. And they haven't been met to this, even Ken has recognized that they haven't been done yet also. Not that they won't be done, but they're still on the line to be done, so.
I think we're all on the same page. I think we just need to get it organized. I think the punch list needs to be put together, and then we can all make decisions.
If we're gonna be riding this out for the next 5, 10, and 20 years, then let's get it right.
Right, Ms. Meyer?
Thank you.
I think we also have to remember in the last year that Stantec bought out.
SHW.
Say it again.
SHW.
SHW, all those people from SHW who are working here are gone.
They got fired.
Well,
But-
you know
but-
what?
Yeah,
That's not, you don't know the reason they were fired.
Oh, yeah, I do.
It was.
I do know the
I'm not
reason.
even going there right now.
No, I know, but the buyout
but,
means nothing. They're still
excuse
liable.
me. But we are dealing with a different company. We have a new person. And I think we have one new representative that comes to the meeting. So I think that Stantec should be
Patrick,
at the meetings
Yep.
too. When we have.
he's been coming to the bond committee meetings, so.
Right, he has.
Yep.
But we went through a big change with personnel.
But that's not the taxpayers' fault.
No, it's not.
No, it's just a different aspect of the situation we have to manage as a board and as a school district and as the key players in it. So we understand that, we can manage that.
Can we just mention that this isn't costing us any more money unless we start doing a whole bunch of research on it and start spending money that way. If we can get this resolved within our contract, it doesn't cost us anything more than the contract ever was going to cost.
Yeah, I just want it done.
I agree.
Ms. Murphy?
The only other thing I'll add, and there's a lot of moving parts to this, and obviously this was a huge project. The question, and I'm in 100% agreement on let's get a comprehensive master list of exactly what we're looking at, because I haven't seen that, and that it's too confusing to know which arm's going which way. But then additionally, there's also a set of work out there that what is ours? What are we responsible for as well? Because there are things that we have to be looking at internally and saying, okay, this is us, this is them. And being able to separate that is gonna help us plan this out further as well.
I mean, at some point, construction ends and maintenance begins. And we want to make sure that we know where that line is.
There's the maintenance, but there's also, okay, this was part of scope and what they were supposed to do, and there was a defect or an issue that they need to rectify versus an issue that came up outside of scope that, quite frankly, is our issue that we need to deal with.
Right.
What are those? So
That
we
was
can
brought up
differentiate.
beforehand, and that's where we started. Okay, let's make these lists, let's start going, let's start visiting the buildings. It takes a little time, because it is huge, and it will all get put together and presented to you. I'll make a timeline, we'll definitely by the next meeting.
We have a lot of these punch lists done.
Yeah.
We do, from the past.
And I think it's
We got them
taking-
done, but they don't have them done.
Correct. We have the punch lists. I would say we have them generated.
Not punched them yet.
I mean,
A lot of stuff we have, but there is stuff that we haven't.
To
Yeah.
Bill's point, it is, I mean, that's what an owner's rep's responsibility is.
Yeah, we shouldn't be doing this, guys.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
We can consolidate those lists.
Then we'll talk
Yep.
about that. All right, thank you for the lively discussion. At this point in time, we're going to have the second call to the public. If you'd like to address the Board of Education, please step to the podium, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Dr. Chesney will give you a little yellow card at the 30 seconds to remain, and then a red card when you're 3 minutes up. We'd ask you to wrap it up at that time, please.
Thank you. I'll use my dive watch. My name is Bill Brazina. I live at 9874 Bergen Road in Heartland. I work at Aquatic Adventures in Brighton. We have obviously been people who are employed and work at the Aquatics Adventures store, and the time slot that's been taken away from the organization is obviously going to affect some of our vocation. Just to be clear, okay, you don't make a lot of money teaching scuba diving, all right? We're enthusiastic, we're passionate about it, we love to pass on our knowledge, and we love to teach students about what it is that we do. It is learning for life. You scuba dive, you've changed your life in some way, shape, or form. So I'm not really in the process of the loop of how all these decisions came about. If this group that's coming in is part of your curriculum, well, I understand that you need that time then for the school. But if they're just another person, another contractor like us that's coming in, I have a little problem understanding how they get precedence over us who have been there for quite some time. Quite honestly, I feel, my personal opinion is that it was done very unprofessionally and leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. I'm just hoping that, there was an opportunity, or there still may be an opportunity to go ahead and work together to find a means for that group and our group to share that time slot, because it will affect us significantly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to address the board?
I just have to say, I'm Jennifer Bond again, but I'm really excited about the curriculum highlights that you shared. A lot of those things, I know last spring I was saying, come on, we need to be great, like Yang Zhao asked us to be. And as far as the subcommittee, if you ever want to bring in outside resources, I would love to be of help. I do travel around the state and the country presenting. STEAM is a passion of mine, and I would love to help offer my services free. Unlike a lot of those things that will cost you a lot of money in training, I'd be more than happy to help with training. And I'm sure you have a lot of other parents that have resources that would be there to train you too, or your employees. And then on a side note, I was just reminded while you were doing the hiring, when I looked at the board packet, there was the resumes of the teachers that were hired. Some of them have their personal phone numbers. I don't know if there's a way, or if it's one of those policies to maybe white it out before, because then, I don't know, there could be students that call or whatever, I don't know, sometimes just the phone numbers and those personal informations on the resume shared.
That's an excellent
Just
question.
a side thought, so thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board?
Hello, I'm Brian Myers. I live 2548 Sharma Lane. I'm currently working on my dive masters through Aquatic Adventures of Michigan. I have also been a coach and a lifeguard instructor for the Brighton Community Schools and the Community Ed in the past. We went in there and did a class 1 or 2 weeks ago trying to work with the swim teams in there, and we were only allowed access to the deep end. And for the entry-level students, there was no place for them to be able to stand and do the skills that they need to do in a comfortable position. The Brighton pool has been one of those facilities which has been one of the most accommodating pools we've had access to, whether it's been for the dive shop, for the scouts, for some of the teams and different activities that we have done there, for different events, for different people coming in and training. And I'm kind of saddened that the schedule has gotten as tight as it has over there. I just hope the board, this is the right direction that they want to go, and hopefully this works out.
Thank you very much. Yes, you may.
So, Dr. Gray, could you tell or refresh us one more time as the board?
I think you have an aquatics question.
I do, yeah.
He's asking an aquatics question, which
Could
he's
you
probably
tell
the
us
same one I was going to ask.
the availability of the pool and what that is?
Well, I don't set the schedule.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
what the
So
block-
presently, it starts at about 6 a.m. with lap swim, and then during the school day.
But that's
we have-
open to the public?
Yes.
6 a.m.
Yes. And then we have high school practice typically too at 5 right now. So it might even be 6:30 when the community can come in. After that, we do have water aerobics during the day, during the school day. After school hours, we obviously have our high school swim team. Then from 5 to 7, our best swim team. Then from 7 to 9, our CW swim team. From 9 to 11, it's also open for outside activities, which would include scuba diving, lap swim, those types of things. In terms of, is there any other availability in the pool right now? I would say probably not. I think if you look at the new pool being twice the size of the existing pool, is there more room? Probably. We don't know though, we haven't opened it yet. It is twice the size square footage wise. And I know some of the groups that are swimming in there right now will not fill the entire pool in terms of lanes. So I don't generate those schedules, but I will talk to Mr. McGinnis. He's our aquatics director, and he generates those schedules, and we'll see what we can do.
Thank you, 'cause that was actually my question that I was gonna ask, is I know these things I wrote down from the aquatic club were the times and then the congestion, and that was my question.
It's very
Has it
congested right
taken
now,
into
yeah.
account that that will change in October, and can we work a little bit down the road
Sure.
to see then, you know, obviously capacity doubles, you know, usage isn't gonna double, are there opportunities for us to work together?
Well, usage could double.
I mean, good, but-
We've had a number of people interested outside of scuba, outside of lap swim. We've had water polo interests. We've had more canoeing interests. We've had a great deal of interest in terms of that. And all of them are linked to the community. Both swim teams in there right now comprised of swimmers from our community. And they both generate revenue as well. So, yeah, when the new pool opens up, we'll probably sit down. I probably won't, but Mr. Thompson, I'm assuming, will sit down with Mr. McGinnis, and they'll work on a schedule that is the best scenario. Things do change. I don't think that's out of the ordinary in a school system, or even with facilities. A lot of the facilities behind the school and in the school, since they've been redone, have changed in terms of classes and those types of things. So we'll look at those options once the new pool is opened. I know Mr. McGinnis is working on scheduling right now and talking to groups, and we'll try to accommodate everybody. But not everybody's going to be happy. That's the truth. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day.
Thanks, Dr. Gray.
Would this group from Aquatic Adventures be able to talk to Mr. McGinnis about possibly?
I think they probably do already. I would assume they have a pretty open pipeline to Mr. McGinnis or Mr. Thompson. I'm sure they do. I don't know that for sure.
Thank you. Again, my name is Kim Parker. I work with Aquatic Adventures Michigan. I have been in contact with Mr. McGinnis and Maria, and I was told that when the new pool opens, we will not have that 7 to 9 slot because it is under contract through Club Wolverine, that nobody is to rent the side of the pool. No sharing of the pool, and that's the new pool, okay? When I mentioned this to Mr. McGinnis, he said, this is what I've been given, and this is what I can give you. And Maria, when I talked to Maria, because she was right in Tim's office, I was told directly by her that my pool times, if I want to use the Brighton pool, will be 5 p.m. to 7 or 9 p.m. to 11. And as parents, do you want your children in the pool doing scuba lessons at 9 o'clock at night? I don't think so. Parents want their kids in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock. I cannot wait till October, November for when you guys make your decision about the pool. I have a business to run. I have made arrangements with other school districts, and they have been very accommodating to me. If we've had this business relationship for 12 years, somebody should have said, Kim, we're not going to be able to have your pool usage this time. But when I spoke with Maria, she basically told me I will not be able to get 9 to 12 or 7 to 9 or any other time outside of that. It's all going to Club Wolverine. There's no way that we can work at 5 to 7 as my instructors have day jobs, 8 to 5. It's very easy for me to say to the parents, okay, well, the school wants you to be at the pool at 5 o'clock. You know what they're going to tell me? No way. I'm not going to be able to get 6 weeks off to have my child at the pool by 5 o'clock. Do you want them at 9 o'clock? I don't think so. Scuba is a very serious sport, and I want my students to be able to actually learn something besides being asleep in class. And I've already talked to my parents. I've actually had 3 people now tell me no, that they will not sign up for classes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to address the board? Margaret, I forget, sorry.
It's okay.
Margaret Adams, 11132 Winthrop Lane. I'm a Brighton resident and a Brighton teacher. This goes back to the videotaping. We've been very pleased with what Mr. Fox does. It's been awesome. When you talk about streaming, part of the reason that his services were paid for and generated through the fundraising was because people can't be here and they can't watch it during that time frame. So they've been very happy with having it on the YouTube. They've been very happy to be able to watch it on their own time. A lot of the parents watch it during the day when the kids are at school. So if we do go with a streaming option, I really hope there's an archive option to go with that. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Jay, could we have information on if we wanted to donate money towards the video production, where that is?
I'll post a crowdfunding page sometime around the holidays.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's usually like a 30-day window to get it funded.
All right. Anybody else like to address the board this evening? I see none. Next meeting is September 28th. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.